up in Lufkin, Melissa Lee moved away to Nashville, where she spent 15 years singing as a studio session singer for both Christian and country artists. She has sung with Trisha Yearwood, Brad Paisley, and once ordered Chick-fil-A next to Tim McGraw. Besides music, Melissa has spent years traveling and speaking to women of all ages and considers public speaking one of her favorite things to do. She is also a writer, a reader, a reality TV watcher. Melissa and her husband David have 2 children, Remy and Rocco. If they both make it to junior high without Melissa lying down in front of the moving vehicle, she plans on writing a book called A Switch, a Swat, and a Spanking Spoon. 3 things no parent or child should live without. Melissa is madly in love with the Word of God, her husband and children, Her mother is her best friend, and she believes cheese dip can cure anything. Please help me welcome Melissa Lee.
Whenever anybody reads that bio, everyone is most impressed about the Tim McGraw part. So here's what actually happened. I did stand beside him in Chick-fil-A, and I ordered a fried chicken sandwich, and then he ordered a grilled chicken sandwich. So then I changed my order to a grilled chicken sandwich. And David said, "Why would you change your order because of what Tim McGraw?" I said, "Have you seen his wife? Obviously, grilled chicken is where it's at." And then one time I was keeping, one of my best girlfriends, I was keeping her son, and he was very little, and so I went to the Kroger grocery store, and he was sitting in the front of the buggy, and I was walking down the aisle, and Tim McGraw was on the same aisle, and so I passed real slow to see what he was getting, and then Eddie, the little boy in the cart, said, "Miss Lissa, why you keep staring at that man?" So by the time we moved out of Tennessee, Tim McGraw knew who I was. I'm so glad to be here today. Thank you so much for having me. Tara, thank you for your prayer. I would like to say that you made a comment in your prayer about, I hope Melissa uses kind wisdom, or kind humor. And my mother leaned across the table and said, "Kind." She said, "Kind." Because she's a little nervous. My name is Melissa Lee. Some of you know me as Melissa Radke. Radke is my married name. But whenever I write an article for the Journey magazine. Whenever I write or I speak anywhere, I always use my maiden name because no one can ever pronounce Radke. But David prefers that I use Lee, so that's kind of strange. He doesn't really want a lot of people knowing that he's to blame for what's happening up here. So you can call me Melissa Lee or Melissa Radke, it doesn't matter. But I write an article in the Journey magazine called Stretch Marks. And so some of you might know me from that. I am a huge Irma Bombeck fan. Does anybody know? Y'all remember Irma Bombeck? Okay, I was reading Irma Bombeck when I was in junior high. Like, all my friends would lay out by the pool and they would have Teen Beat, and I'd be reading Irma Bombeck. So I'm a huge fan of hers. I try to write like her. So I really write about my real life. I write about my husband and my children. So if you find yourself laughing at the Stretch Marks article, you are laughing at my real pain. I need you to know that up front, okay? Everything you read is very true. I am also the worship leader at Lufkin First Assembly, which is the big church out on the Loop. For you Baptists, I'm a song leader. For you Methodists, I hold a hymnal. Okay, you get that? Okay. Really, I don't hold a hymnal. We don't sing with a hymnal much, but I am the worship leader at Lufkin First Assembly. It's a great church. You should try it. We handle snakes once a month. I'm kidding. We don't. Oh, for Pete's sake. Our pastor's wife is here. That's why I said it. But it's a great church. If you don't already have a home church, ask me about it. But if not, I would be glad to tell you about a multitude of godly women in this town who have found a great church. So I hear wonderful things about the community. But I would like to take a second just to let you know a little bit about me. I do love the Lord with all my heart. And I know that's maybe not always proper to say in a civic kind of organization, but it is who I am. He is the biggest part of me. And so I love the Lord with all my heart, and I get to speak a lot to women's groups in churches. And I thought, well, should I say that I'm a believer? Should I say that I love the Lord? And then I thought, well, what can they do? It's a bunch of Southern women. Nobody's going to come chase me down and run me out of here. So But I like to say that I am who I am today because of two things. My relationship with Christ and my parents who believed in staying married and giving spankings very often. And my mother is here today, so I would like to introduce you to my mom. This is Annette Lee right here. Everybody say hi. My mom and dad made my home life very fun growing up. They believed in fighting in front of me, and which kept my home fun and on its toes. They believed in serving Popeye's chicken once a week, and my mother would say it was homemade, but we knew it wasn't. And we always ate with our elbows on the table, so we weren't proper in any kind of way, but it did make my home a lot of fun and functional and a place that I never dreaded being, and that's really good to raise a kid in that kind of environment. Amen? I graduated from Hudson High School. The year is not an issue here. I graduated from Hudson High School, and a couple of months after I graduated, I moved to Nashville, Tennessee with my husband, David. We got married and moved there and graduated from Belmont University. I graduated with a degree in commercial music performance with a study in jazz and blues because my dream was I was going to go to New York City and I was going to make it big, and I was going to be best friends with Bette Midler, and we were going to have parties all the time on her back porch. Well, here I am! Yeah, it's not quite New York City. But anyway, 2 years ago, David and I decided to move back to my hometown, move back here to Lufkin, because I could not stand the fact that I was raising kids around no family at all. I wanted my children to be around grandparents and aunts and cousins and uncles and free babysitting, and so we moved back here. And I want to ask you guys this. Okay, this is a good room to ask this question. You know, people talk about Lufkin sometimes, right? Because you know, like our mall doesn't have a skating rink in it and stuff like that. Do y'all get offended when people talk about Lufkin? Because here's the deal. This is what I told David. David, I can talk about Lufkin because I am from here. You are not allowed to talk about Lufkin. You are an outsider. He said, how can I be an outsider? I was married in a church here. I've come and visited here my whole life, and I now live here. How? You are an outsider. We don't take to your kind. So I can talk about what restaurants we need, and the fact that there's not a Cracker Barrel here is ridiculous. I can talk about that. Do y'all feel that way? Yes. He hacked me off this morning. That's why I brought that up. But anyway, so when I told my mother that we were considering moving back here, and she knew she had 2 grandbabies that would be moving back, needless to say, she was a little bit excited. Had I known then what I know now, she might as well have said to me, Melissa, if you move back home, I will let you live right beside me. I will question your parenting techniques every single day of your life, and I will call you every Sunday morning to come over and do my hair. That's what she should have said. Then I would have prayed about my decision a little bit longer. But we moved back, and we are very happy here, and my kids are in great schools, and we're in a great church, and I have made a lot of wonderful friends. Being back here has really been a godsend. It really has been a blessing to raise my kids around family. I say that being raised by a Southern Belle has its pitfalls and its pearls. There's things I love and things I don't. If you walk out of my front door and you take 63 steps out of my front door, you will hit my mother's door. 63 steps. So every day, I am 63 steps away from a Sam's size bottle of Valium. I am 63 steps away from a white jacket where my arms go like this and strap me in. I'm 63 steps away from that every day. But I am also 63 steps away from the world's best chocolate chip cookies. And I am 63 steps away from some of the best advice that I could ever be given. When it's date night for me and my husband, I am 63 steps away from some of the prettiest jewelry you have ever laid your eyes on. I am 63 steps away at all times from a bottle of Big Sexy hairspray because she buys them in twos because she knows when I run out, I steal one from her. I am 63 steps away from the best King Ranch chicken casserole you've ever had in your life. And I'm 63 steps away from my very best friend. And so I want to talk to you today about what might be 63 steps outside your front door. Tell me, active participation here, tell me some famous women duos. Laverne and Shirley. Thank you, Kay. Anybody?
The Judds.
Oh, I didn't write them down. The Judds. I didn't think about that.
Lucy and Ethel.
Look, got them. Lucy and Ethel. Anybody?
Cagney and Lacey.
Cagney and Lacey, Thelma and Louise. I got them. Anybody else? Let's see who else I wrote.
Mary Tyler Moore and Rhoda.
Mary Tyler. Very good. Yeah. Anybody?
Wilma and Betty.
Betty and Wilma. Y'all miss Mary Kate and Ashley.
Ruth and Naomi.
Ruth and Naomi. I didn't think about Bible women. Very good. Okay. Monica and Rachel. So come on. Seriously, kids of the 80s, Salt and Pepper. Come on. Y'all. So I want to talk to you today because we are in a season. Some of the older ladies are like, salt and pepper? What? That's right, salt and pepper. I'll explain it later. We are in a season of relationships and friendships, the season of love. And I did not want to come and talk about my husband for 20 minutes. I wanted to talk about some surprising relationships that you might find just outside your door if you spent a little time looking at the people that God has placed around you. We live in a world today that does absolutely anything it can to replace friendships with Facebook. Isn't that sad? We have replaced sit-downs and conversations with schedules. It's sad to me to know that I can find out more about your children and if they're sick or if they're doing, how they're doing in school by posting on your wall than by knocking on your door. But that's just the society that we live in. And relationships are hard. They really are. I know it. I know that they are hard. If I have heard this once, I have heard it 1,000 times. Some of you are going to be guilty for saying this. I don't really have a lot of female friends. They are too much drama, and I just don't like all that drama, so I just don't have a lot of female friends. Raise your hand if you said it. Raise your hand, Kendra Clark. Raise your hand. Y'all said it. To that, I would say this. The woman who says she doesn't need a girlfriend is the woman who has yet to need a girlfriend. Hear what I'm saying? The woman who says she doesn't need a girlfriend has yet to need one. Because when you need one, you better make sure you've surrounded yourself with some good people. Y'all can say amen. Amen. We do it in my church. Listen, ladies, this is what I'm saying. If your husband is your best friend, bully for you, so is mine. Absolute best friend. Woman law of the jungle says that if it's between your husband or being with a girlfriend one night, pick your husband. Husbands should always win out. I believe that. Okay? But there is no way that David Radke wants to know that I have gone up a size in my jeans. He doesn't want to know. He doesn't want to know anything about my boss at work. He does not want to know that I have TiVo'd Cindy Crawford's Meaningful Beauty infomercial, and I watch it every day to try to convince myself if I should order that product. He doesn't care a hoot about that kind of stuff. If I were to say those things to him, he would yell at me, "Get a girlfriend for the love of Pete, woman. Just get out of the house." Okay? If your husband is your best friend, that's great. There is a place reserved in my heart for David and for my children. But there is also a place for my girlfriends. When I first got married, my mom gave me this piece of advice because I would say, "Mother, he wants to go play basketball with his friends." And she would say, "What is the problem?" What did I think was going to happen? That he was... I guess I just thought that they call it basketball, but that's just code for strip club. I mean, I don't know. What was I thinking? The man really did just want to play ball, And my mom always said, let him go, baby. He'll be better to you when he comes home. Let him go. Let him spend some time with his friends. And he always was. And it also rings true for us. Get out of the house, ladies. Let him take them to soccer. Okay? Miss a PTA meeting for the love of Pete. And get out with your friends. You're going to be better when you get home. That's my belief. Let me tell you a little secret. I don't like to promote myself. My friends are laughing right now. I don't like to say that I'm a professional at anything. But here's the truth. I am a relationship guru of sorts. I really am. I'm quite good at this. And here's why. Some of the best people are people who have failed the first time around. Why is Dave Ramsey so successful? Say it out loud. Who said it? Because he went bankrupt. Dave Ramsey is the professional that he is today, the financial teacher that he is today, because he went bankrupt. Consider me your Dave Ramsey of friendships, ladies. I am your Dave Ramsey of friendships. Why? Because I have been a horrible friend in the past. I have been disloyal. I have extended my hand and pulled it back when it was needed the most. I have not always been trustworthy. Sometimes I've found a flaw or a weakness that my friends would have, and I'll tease about it. I have been a very bad friend in the past. I've also been mistreated and mishandled and misjudged. I've had to forgive friends, and friends have had to forgive me. Because any good relationship, that goes both ways. So I consider myself a professional because I can tell you at my age, I think I'm just starting to know what to do and what not to do. A little girl named Hannah, age 7, was asked how to be a friend, and these are the things that she said. Hannah, age 7, said, here's how you be a friend. You be nice and kind. You play with them. You let them win. Give them a nickel. Send them emails, or when they're sick, send them a card. Ask them for a play date, and say great things about them. Pretty simple. Let's take one of those one at a time. Be nice and kind. That sounds pretty simple, right? It's not. Maybe one of the hardest, because nice and kind does something, and it does it really, really well. Let me tell you what it is. Nice and kind takes you out of it and puts someone else first. Well, that's what I really hate. Nice and kind says, no. You go sit down. I'll get your coffee and bring it to you. Nice and kind sits down across from her friend and says, so tell me how it's going with your husband. When what you really want to say is, you're not going to believe my week. But nice and kind makes it about them and not really so much about you. So when Hannah said be nice and kind, Hannah didn't realize that what she was saying was really kind of hard. It's kind of hard for us to take ourselves out first. I have a friend in this room. Her name is Kendra. Kendra is very nice and very kind. My week is generally more important than her week. My prayers are priority over her prayers. That's how she makes me feel. My time is more valuable than her time. Now, I know it's not. And hopefully I'm nice and kind right back to her. But she's a good friend to have. Hannah would like her because she's nice and she's kind. Number 2, play with them. That sounds fun. Play with them. Don't badger them. Let me tell you something. Not every girlfriend get-together has to be some emotional cry fest over cookie dough. It is great when that happens. Go for it. But have you ever known those girls that that's all they wanted to do? Sometimes I just want to play. Sometimes I just want to rent a movie and laugh at the dirty parts. I do. And let me tell you something. My aunt is here. This is my mother's sister, Melba, right here. You want to play a date? She's your go-to gal. I don't want to get together and cry every single time. I just want to get together and play True Colors and trash talk the people I work with. And I call her. I just want to play bananagrams in my pajamas. Do you know what I mean? It is Sometimes I'll call her and she'll come down and we will spread out bananagrams over the table and eat chili cheese dogs. And let me tell you, we can solve a world of problems with just that. Just shutting up and having a good old play date. I hope you can find a friend that can do both. But sometimes it's just nice to have a playmate. Number 3, let them win. Now this is a tough one. Let them win is a tough one because it means that you will have had to have found a friend who is mature enough to say this. I know who I am. I'm confident enough in who I am. I'm confident enough in who Christ made me to be that I can stand beside you and let you have the glory. Could even stand a little bit behind you and let you have the glory sometime. But I don't always have to stand in front of you. I had that friend. I had the friend who said, no, 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 no. You will not go up any further than I will. You will not do any more than me. You will not sing louder than me. And if you speak here, then I have to speak here. And I don't like that kind of competition. Nobody likes that. Everybody longs for the friend who just says, you can win sometime. I like the woman who says, you know, I have friends here today who, they don't want to be up here in front of 100 women talking. And they're good with that. They know who they are. They ain't got to win every time. My cousin is not here today, Meredith, but her famous quote that she said to me is, I have stood behind you and held your hairspray bottle for my entire life. And it's very true. She really has. She really has. Meredith is confident enough in who she is. She doesn't have to have the spotlight on her all the time. That's a good friend to have. I hope that I've been the same kind of friend to her. But she's not here, so we'll never know. But I hope that I have. I will tell you, one Sunday, Meredith was singing on my worship team. And I have to wear these Spanx things. Okay? But before there was, I'm calling them Spanx because it's a public forum. But really what it is a girdle. It's a body girdle that goes all up over your shoulders and everything. It's like armor, okay? But it attaches on the, it attaches to the crotch. It snaps at the crotch, okay? Like 3 snaps. I know my mother's like literally has gone white like she's about to die. And it was one particular Sunday, and we're just about to, in our church, the countdown timer goes on, and you can see it on the screens. It's like 5 minutes, and then it goes 3 minutes, okay? And so the whole band comes back there, and they're like, okay, girl, let's go. And so I got my mic on, I'm about to get up, and when I stand up, I hear, and I'm like, oh no. And Meredith, who is one of the worship singers, says, not me. Not me. And I said, no, look. You have been like a little sister. Melissa, don't start with the you've been like a sister to me speech. I am not doing this. I said, Meredith, we have found ourselves in some awkward places before. Melissa, no, I'm not buttoning your crotch. Meredith, look, if I pull these pants down to my knees, and you get down there, and I bend a little bit at the knees, we can work this out. And if I'm lying, I'm dying. My mother had to stand at a door and block it so the band guys couldn't come back there. And Meredith, sweet Meredith, had to get on her knees and pop that thing back into place. And then she went and washed her hands for like 15 minutes. We were late getting out on the stage. But that's a friend. That's a girlfriend right there. Amen? But I'm being serious when I tell you that the mistake would be if I could never be that friend to her. I hope that if you have that friend who lets you win, who appreciates the fact that you're good at your job, who tells you that you are a great mother and gets advice from you, or she says, you know, I've always looked up at your marriage, you know, you really, you and your husband seem so happy, and how do you do that? What is your advice? I hope you let them win sometimes. I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm not good at. So what I'm not good at, I make sure that I celebrate that in my friends that are good. I would love to be the world's best mother, but I'm not. So I have a girl in Tennessee, I honestly think she's the world's best mother. And so I text her or email her or call her on the phone, and I ask her questions because I don't want to be so immature that I think I have to be that. She is, and I want to celebrate that win for her. The next thing Hannah said is, give them a nickel. The only person in this room that can come the closest to reading my mind birthed me and breastfed me. So unless you have a friend who has birthed you and breastfed you, chances are no one can read your mind quite like my mother can read mine. I use that example because my mama just knows when the money's tight. So when we go to Saki and I have to order that crunchy roll because it's only $4.95, and when I really want that big fancy roll, it's like $13. Mama picks up the tab. And last week when I was sick, and Remy was sick, and Rocco was sick, and I was taking care of everybody and myself last, Mama sent over cookie dough. Because sometimes a nickel isn't just a nickel. Do you know what I mean, ladies? Sometimes you're just giving them a little something, something. And I hope you can find a friend that you can do that for. Send them emails, and when they're sick, send them a card. Let me introduce you to Lisa. Lisa is sitting in a red leather jacket. She's got short brown hair. Best card giver ever. Best card giver of all time. If you go to a family event or a girlfriend's lunch or whatever, don't try to outdo Lisa's card because hers will always be the funniest or the dirtiest. Every time. When I talk about this one, I want to make mention of the fact that my granny bought one of those topsy-turvy tomato things that you hang upside down in your garage. It's supposed to just produce all these beautiful tomatoes, but she didn't water it. And so she wanted to send it back because she thinks the topsy-turvy didn't work, but she just didn't add water. If you have a friendship, you have to water it. Lisa's a great card giver. But Lisa also has realized that friendships need nurturing. They need watering. They need soil. They need to be taken care of. Lisa and I got in an argument one time on the phone. And apparently I was rude to her, but I don't remember it. But I was very rude to her. And she put the phone down for a long time and wouldn't come back to the phone. So I just sat there, and I thought if I don't hang up, then her line will stay busy like all night. And so she's going to have to come back to the phone eventually. She came back to the phone, and here's what she said. She said, I'm mad at you. You hurt my feelings. You can't talk to me that way. Oh, it's dying. She said, you can't talk to me that way. You've got me crying. And if I start crying, then I'm going to be sad. And I've already got a teenager that I live with, and I don't want to be sad. I'm sad 98% of my life living with this teenager, and I don't want to be sad. So you need to apologize to me. Now, here's the deal. I could have hung up that phone. I had two choices. You can hang up the phone, or you can do the dirty work. You can apologize. But had Lisa never watered me, had Lisa never nurtured me, had Lisa never taken care of that friendship, then I would have never been able to reciprocate what it was that she needed. And I apologized, and I told her that she was right, and I was very sorry. And I'm here to tell you today, ladies, if you honor your friendships, they will honor you. Surround yourself with good women. And when the going gets tough, they'll rise to the surface. And what you have honored will come back. And lastly, number 6 was ask them for a play date. Now, I have a friend named Nicole, and I'm not going to point her out, but she's in this room. And I'm not going to point her out because we have a little problem, her and I. We both have 5-year-olds that are going to send us to an early grave. And so sometimes we will get together and we will commiserate our 5-year-old problems together over breadsticks at Olive Garden or the standpipe, that drink with all this caramel stuff on the top of it at Standpipe. And we will talk about our issues. And I would just like to go on record as saying my 5-year-old is worse than hers, so I always win. Then Nicole is the most Martha Stewart loving, Better Homes and Garden reading freak I have ever seen in my life. Okay? She is super organized. Her dining room table is vintage, and mine is Target. She refurnishes furniture and I hire people to do that for me. We have absolutely nothing in common. But had I never asked her for a play date, I would have never been able to celebrate the one thing that we do. I surprised us both by finding something that we have in common. There are women around you right now that you think you have absolutely nothing in common with. But the good Lord might surprise you with something that you do. And how fun is it to go on a play date and have a lot of fun and you never saw that coming? And lastly, say great things about them. If little Hannah had been asked to elaborate on this, here's what I hope she would have said. Don't just talk good about them behind their back. Talk good about them to their face. I heard it once said that if you are around a friend who talks all the time about someone, you can pretty much bet she does that when you're not there. Y'all ever heard that? And I know that to be true because I have been that friend. I have been the friend that drones on and on and on and on about someone else. And I have been the friend that sat there and listened to it and never stood up. I've been both of those. But there's a lot to be said about getting older, getting wise, and learning. See, I have learned in life that I don't have to talk about my friend Donna. Donna's going to mess up all on her own. Life is hard enough for sweet Donna. For the love of Sam, let's leave Donna alone. I don't even know a Donna. If there's a Donna in here, I'm sorry. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, we're all so critical. You know? Donna knows her roots are showing. She's got a mirror. We ain't got to point it out. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, Donna knows she's dressing too young. She does, y'all. You think you need to discuss it, but you don't. Donna knows. Donna knows. Somebody gonna tell Donna, okay? And I guess I've just learned that there is just a different feeling you get when you sit with a group of women and you talk about your weight loss woes and your dream vacations and your kids' report cards and your marriages that just make you feel a whole lot better than if you walk away and you have ripped to shreds everybody you know. Do you know that feeling? I have a friend that she couldn't be here today. Her name is Janet. Janet has honestly made me believe that I am the best singer she's ever heard in her life. That I'm the best teacher she's ever sat under, ever. And that my kids are the most beautiful things I have ever seen. They're gorgeous. Now, she's got 2 kids of her own, and she has made me believe that my kids are the prettiest things she's ever seen. I know she's lying. I know she's lying. I'm not the best teacher or singer. My kids, they're prettier than hers. I'm not going to lie. She's not here. That's what you get when you don't come. Her kids are cute, but they're not super cute, and mine are super cute. But you know what? Do you know what it does to have a friend who talks good about you behind your back and your front? I like an encourager. It's not my gift. I'm not the biggest encourager in the world. In fact, when Janet says, "You're the best singer I've ever heard. When I get to heaven, I want to sing just like you," I tend to say, probably it's not going to happen. I mean, I tend to, we're good at different things, right? I'm not the biggest encourager in the world, and Janet is. But it says something to me to have a friend that I know when I walk out of the room, she's got my back. Because when I'm in the room, she's got my front. Do you know what I'm saying? Suddenly, I'm reminded of the poster that hung on my wall when I was growing up that said, to have a friend is to first be a friend. And I'm reminded of standing in the kitchen when I was about 15 years old with my mother when she turned and looked at me and said, "Melissa, if if you have a friend by the time you're 18, I will be shocked. That's the true story. My mother also, I would like to come back and speak to you ladies again on my mother. And I will be speaking on the time I wanted to try out for cheerleader, and she told me I could not jump. Now, if you would like to hear that, please tell Melissa Wheeler and she'll have me back. Okay? Because that's a true story. She told me I couldn't jump. Sometimes mothers are right. But anyway, several years ago, I found myself in a situation. My husband and I lived in Tennessee, and we had just lost a child. And I became fiercely, I hate to use the word needy, dependent, I guess you could say, on my husband. You go through those valleys with your spouse, you know what I'm talking about. I wanted him all the time, and we spent every minute together, and I was very needy of him. But there was also this place inside of me that just needed that camaraderie of women. And I had several really close girlfriends who really had backed away as to give my husband and I time together to heal and to grieve. And I would get messages on my phone or emails here and there, but they kept their distance. And they wanted me to come out, literally come out of my house when I was ready. And I missed them. And I realized that, I don't know, man, I don't know if it's, some of you may call it karma. I call it the golden rule, which is what? Say that with me. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That, man, that really does come back to you. And I realized in that moment that the friends that you feed today will be the friends who feed you tomorrow. And I was so glad that even in my stupidity at times, and my arrogance at times, and my moronicness and my immaturity, that I had been a good friend to those women. Because the day came when I needed them. And they were good friends to me. I will give you a statistic. The percentage of us in this room who want to be friends with Tyra Banks is probably low. How did you like that statistic? I didn't do a lot of research on that. I was just guessing. I'm guessing that the percentage of women in here who want to be friends with a woman who looks like that is probably low. I'm just guessing. I don't know. Maybe you want to be friends with her. I'm sure she's great. But I don't want to be friends with the woman who has it all. I don't also want to be friends with the woman who thinks she has to have it all. All of my friends are really good at just one or two things. You put us all together, and we make the perfect woman. That's why it's so fun when we're together. Apart, we're not so much. But you put a good group of girls together, one who is an encourager, the other one who can make you laugh so hard you want to pee on yourself, and one who makes really good brownies, you got yourself a party. My wish for you in this season is that you take time to nurture, to love, to listen to send an email or show up at their door and ask them how they are, to take them for coffee, and to not just give them a nickel. I could tell you right now, if I picked up my friend Carly and I had a Diet Pepsi in my hands and took her to get a pedicure, she'd be gone. She'd just pass out and die. That's just what she likes. If I bought Lisa the cheapest piece of junk jewelry and gave it to her, she'd be my best friend forever. If I took Meredith to a matinee, if I went and kidnapped her and took her to a matinee, be heaven. Because like I said, sometimes a nickel isn't just a nickel. It's about knowing them and nurturing them. So in this season of relationships, I just want to remind you to take a moment and see what might be 63 steps outside your door. Thank you so much.